Welcome to the Empowered Team Podcast. I'm your host, Kari Schneider, and today we are on a new 3-episode series. Now, if you recall, if you've been subscribed and listening, the last episodes that we've done in a series, the first one was on the inner game. We did 3 episodes there. The second one was the interactive game. So the inner game being the mindset, the thinking, the ways to get results through your mind. The second one, the interactive game, is all about how we interact with other people to create the results in the world that we're creating. And this one, this is the kickoff to the last in these series. This is the action game, because ultimately what you're going to do is going to lead to your result. And the reason we started with the other ones first is because they're so influential with your results, because they lead to actions. Now we're going to talk about the actions. Okay, so today, the topic is such a good one. It's the reasons why smart people, the real smarty pants in the world, why smart people do not start. Why don't smart people start? So I'm going to lead you off with this little bit of research, because you know I love the science. Let's go. Research shows that high achievers are statistically more likely to procrastinate than average performers. Not less, more likely to procrastinate. Go figure. So I'm going to give you the 3 reasons why this happens, because if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably a high achiever, you're probably pretty darn smart, and you want to know why. If you're not performing in the way you think you should, well, why is that happening? I'm going to tell you exactly why today and what you can do about it, because there's nothing wrong with you. Your brain is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So let's go. The smarter you are, the harder it can be to start. Well, that's kind of a kick in the pants, isn't it? You're not broken. Your brain is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So let's talk about what that means and then what you can do about it. And this is leading us into reason number 1. This is the first concept. And the first concept is all about the feature that overthinking is. We've got this thing, your brain, you've heard me call it the badass super genius. This is your prefrontal cortex, and your prefrontal cortex is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, thinking about things. It's a prediction machine. It's running models. It's running what it thinks is going to happen. So it's running a simulation so that you can predict whether it's safe, what to do, make decisions, plan the future. That's what's happening in this prefrontal cortex. So it's stress testing the outcomes. That's why we overthink. So don't beat yourself up if you're overthinking, because you're probably doing it or you've done it at some point. It is asking what if before you take a single step. In survival terms, it's literally preventing death. It's saving your life. It's genius in survival terms. In performance terms, it can become a cage. It can feel like a prison because you're stuck in your head thinking about all the potential outcomes of what could be happening in this scenario. So there's a neuroscientist. All these, I love research. All of the research I'm going to put in the show links, different articles, different papers that I've uncovered. I'll put those in the show notes so you have the links in case you want to dig into it further. There's a researcher, a neuroscientist called Antonio Damasio, and he found that high-functioning people with strong prefrontal cortex, as prefrontal activity, are prone to decision loops. They generate more options, more scenarios, more risks. The brain interprets, and this is every brain, interprets uncertainty as a threat. So when threat is detected, the nervous system stalls and pumps the brakes. So consider that for a second. I can recall one client in particular who, session after session, this client was coming up with saying, well, I'm confused. That for me was a red flag, because it was showing me that she was overthinking. She kept coming up with this uncertainty, and her language around it was, I'm confused. So clarity really helps in those situations. So you're not going to make a decision. You're not going to go forward. You're not going to take action if you feel this uncertainty, if you feel confusion, if you feel like there's too many options. Any of those scenarios are going to have you stall, pump the brakes, think about it more. So that uncertainty becomes a real problem. So there's two things I want to do in this reason number one. Two things that I think will help you in your life. Because this is the situation where if you're in the loop, you're looping on a thought pattern, you're looping on the overthinking, it doesn't feel good. And the worse it feels, the less likely you're going to take action. Or you get to a point where it feels so bad, you're taking action from a place of misery. And you don't want to do that either. So in a high performance, and what I'm talking about is high performance that's sustainable. Because if you keep making decisions and taking action out of misery or feeling like you can't handle this anymore, you can't keep going on this loop, then you will head towards burnout. It's not sustainable to keep taking action from that low state or those negative spaces. I can recall, and this is a silly thing, you notice if you see me on video, I don't have a mic on. I'm free here. There's no attached mic. Now I have the big mics, the snowball mics, the little tiny ones that are, skin color that go right by your mouth. I have had all of the mics, but I've overthought it. Which one's the best? What do the best podcasters use? Which one is working? I would go through live coaching calls and my mic would have cut out and nothing is being recorded. There's no sound. Now the people who were live heard it, but the recording that we needed for a course or the recording we needed for a podcast didn't come through because the mic wire cut out. So then I'm looking for other solutions and what else can happen. And in that process, I ended up overthinking. And it's costing me a key thing that is very finite for all of us, and it's energy. If you keep going down the same path over and over, it's not going to be everlasting. We only have so much attention in the day. We only have so much brain power to put towards something. So if we keep staying on the same thing, not only is it draining that tank of attention, it's also taking attention away from something else because we cannot focus on everything. We can only focus on small amounts at any given time. Multitasking is not effective. So I had this mic issue, and now if you notice, if you see me on video, there's no mic going on. I'm using technology that can then bring this echoey sound in my background, because I don't have a lot of soft things in this room, brings all that echoey sound out because it filters out the sound and gives a studio sound. So I'm using technology in my favor. I made that decision. I cannot tell you how freeing it has been. The reason it has been so freeing is many reasons, actually. When I travel, I'm not traveling with a whole bunch of mic equipment, big or small, or if I can't bring my big mic, I'm bringing a small mic. Now, do I have mics occasionally for certain things? Absolutely. I want the best sound quality I can have for the production I'm putting out. However, that noise of overthinking which to use, going on about what's not working, that's the miserable part of figuring it out. But the overthinking part is unnecessary. The overthinking part takes that figuring out, the necessary figuring it out, to another level that it doesn't have to go to another miserable level that it doesn't have to go to. So consider what that overthinking is costing you. And if you're overthinking and keep getting into a zone of confusion or uncertainty, your brain, your whole nervous system is going to see that as a threat, and you're going to be less likely to take action. So keep it as simple as possible. And here's the reframe I'd like you to try on. The reframe is ask yourself, the reframe, and then I'll give you the question. The reframe is that overthinking isn't weakness. Overthinking is simply intelligence without a deadline. So remember, you are smart. You've got what it takes to make the decisions, to plan the plan. You've got what it takes. But there's going to have to be some parameters around that overthinking or your thoughts in general. Because if you don't have that, it's going to lead to uncertainty. It's going to lead to confusion. And then you're not going to take the actions that you want to take. And if you do, it's probably not going to be sustainable. So keep it as simple as possible. Overthinking is not a weakness. It's simply intelligence without a deadline. So all you got to do is add that little deadline. The question I'd like you to ask yourself is, am I solving a real problem right now, or am I just running simulations? Because that's exactly what your brain is doing. It's running the simulations for your protection. So am I solving the real problem right now, or am I just running simulations? And if you get into that answer as being, I'm just running simulations, don't beat yourself up about it. Simply go, oh, of course. My brain's doing exactly what it's supposed to do to protect me. Excellent. Good job, brain. Now, here we're going to actually solve the problem. Here's what we're going to do right now. And tell your brain, you can actually think those thoughts or say those words to get your brain to do what you want it to do. It is your tool. You are the one guiding your brain. Your brain isn't the boss. You are the boss of your brain. I could get into whole meta and spiritual things here, but we're going to just keep it at that. You are the boss of your brain. The reason I know this is because you can think your thoughts. You can control which thoughts you think. And you can see and stop thinking other thoughts. So let's go into reason number 2. Awesome, awesome. So this one is all about procrastination. Here's the thing about procrastination. It's actually perfectionism that we're talking about. Perfectionism is simply procrastination all dressed up. So if perfectionism is procrastination looking good, why does it look good? Here's the thing. Procrastination, perfectionism doesn't look like fear. The thing about perfectionism is it looks good. It looks responsible. It looks important. It looks like high standards. So we're going to keep doing perfectionism because that looks professional as well. So there are high standards. We do want that. We do want responsibility. We do want professional. However, you have to distinguish between continued perfectionism that's actually delaying the outcome that you want. That's when perfectionism is really just looking good and dressed up, but it's actually procrastination. So here's psychologists, more research for you. It's awesome. Love to know, love the evidence-based stuff. Psychologists Gordon Flett and Paul Hewitt, they're leading researchers on clinical perfectionism. We're talking the stuff that is the real deal. People are true perfectionists. Now, they identify a very specific pattern, and the specific pattern is called socially prescribed perfectionism. And this is the one that's pretty challenging because what it is the belief that others expect a flawless performance from you. So I have a workshop and a presentation coming up, and in my head, I have what I think they expect from me, how I'm going to present the material, how I'm going to look, how I'm going to connect with them. And that standard is higher than they likely actually expect from me. So this is what happens. It's this belief that others expect this flawless performance from you. And high achievers carry this the hardest. This is who you are. This is the audience of this podcast. You are high achievers. You carry this expectation that others expect you to be flawless. And the result is that sometimes the high achievers, us, we just don't start because starting means that producing something could fall short of the image that has been built, that we're imagining. Keep that in mind. We're just imagining. So in a 2023 meta-analysis, it found that perfectionism has risen significantly across generations. It correlates strongly with chronic inaction, burnout, and self-sabotage. It does not correlate with results. I want you to really hear that the rise in perfectionism doesn't correlate with the rise in results. It correlates with inaction, burnout, and self-sabotage. So keep that in mind. Again, this is one of the things that come with smart people. We want this great high standard, but we've got to distinguish. One of the ways you can do this is simply defining the high standard, not imagining what other people want, but defining what it means to you and your values or your family or your company. Define your high standards. These are the standards we meet no matter what, because of safety, because of the quality that we provide our customers, not but because of the flawlessness that we think they expect from us. So make sure that we're not getting caught into that. So here is the practice that has helped me a lot. And it was from a coach called Brooke Castillo. And I had done some certifications in life coaching through her company. And there was a concept that she taught that was so valuable to me. And it was called B- work. Because what she noticed with thousands of people, and what I've noticed as well with clients, with athletes, and again, thousands of people, is that when the high achievers are looking for an Olympic level performance or the world-class result, then we always are trying for an A. We're A players, we're high achievers. And when she said B- work, she's like, make sure you are putting something out there that's B- work, because it's more important to get the concept out there, to get the result out there, to get the work out there, than to have it be perfect. And it was so helpful. And I think that's been so helpful for so many of my clients, because the standards are high. And often with those high standards, it holds people up. So here's the reframe. Perfectionism is not a standard. It's a stall tactic with good marketing or good PR. So it's not a high standard. There's a saying, and it's that perfectionism is the lowest standard because you can never achieve perfect. Everybody has a different definition of perfect. There is no such definition as perfect. So it is actually the lowest standard. It is not a standard. It's a stall tactic. All right. So here's the B- work. Done and imperfect will always outperform perfect and imaginary. Done and imperfect will always outperform perfect and imaginary. So that's concept number 2. Here we go. Here's the third reason why smart people don't start. Here we go. The one move that actually works is called an implementation intention. And it was so powerful for me the first time I read about this. So the tip that I'm going to give you, the tactic called an implementation intention, when it's not being done, that's the reason why smart people don't start. So if this is being done more, smart people start. But because people aren't doing this often enough, even though you're a smart person and a high achiever, you're often not starting. And this is why. You're not having an implementation intention. And if you do have an implementation intention, it will work. Everything will work so much better. Remember that motivation fades. Motivation is fleeting, but consistency and structure is what's going to get you through to the results that you want every time, bar none. That's why I'm suggesting define your standards, decide your implementation intention, and I'll tell you about that right away. And this is from a researcher. The researcher's name is Peter Gollwitzer. I first heard about this research in the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. I love that book because James Clear did such an incredible job at pulling together all of the research at the time that was out there on habits, habit making, habits that work, all of the habit stuff. And one of the pieces of research was from this person, Peter Gollwitzer, and his research at New York University. And this was, and also across 90 studies, found one method that consistently, bar none, doubles and triples follow through. Not increases by 20%, doubles and triples follow through. Hear me out here. If you're not doing this already, start. Make it a practice, make it a rule. It makes a huge, huge difference. So let's go. An implementation is called when-then planning. I usually take it a little further, but it's when-then planning. It looks like this. It's not, I'll work on that project this week. It sounds more like specifics. And the specifics might sound like, when I sit down at my desk first thing in the morning at 8 a.m. on Tuesday, I will open the document and write for 25 minutes. So it's the when is when I sit down at my desk, 8 a.m. Tuesday morning. That's the when. Then, and this is the then, I will write for 25 minutes. That's the when then. It's really key. That's the implementation intention. It's a when then planning. What happens is it collapses the space, it collapses the noise between intention and action. And if you can do that, I can tell you right now, and the research shows, because I've done it too, you double and triple your output. Specifically, so this is what his studies showed. His studies showed that when this was done, increased goal achievement, not just action. I want you to hear that. Goal achievement increases goal achievement by 200 to 300% across health, academic, and professional domains. So this isn't just in one thing. This is across categories. This is powerful when-then planning. So if you can't remember implementation, intention, there's a lot of syllables in there. When-then planning. You've got this, the thing you want to do right there. And I gave an example back in our action series. I gave the example of me taking creatine. I have known the research about creatine for approximately 15 to 20 years. I have been taking creatine for approximately 15 years. But do you think I can take it daily and make it into a habit? No. I've given the example in the previous podcast, but how I did it was this. It was an implementation intention. The hardest part of it was finding when it would work best. And once I figured that out, in the bit of water I had left from the night before, once I figured it out, I take creatine every day. And I have for, a year now. Every single day, creatine, it's in my habits. I don't have to think about it because I have a when-then planning. It's the implementation intention that really made it happen. And if you want more on that, go back to the episode in the previous series on the 3 questions for action. It'll help you create an implementation intention. Okay, really cool stuff. So it collapses that gap between intention and action. And but what happens when you do that, this is the key part. Your brain stops negotiating when you've made that change because it has specificity. It has an instruction that is exactly when and what. So as soon as you know that when and then, which is the when and what is going to happen, then your brain stops putting out all that noise at you for what else needs to be done. Oh, I got to get to that emails. I got to do this. I got to do that. No. When this happens, then this will happen. And it's easier without all that noise and negotiating from your brain. It's easier for your brain to then obey. That's what we want. We want your brain to obey what you've implemented with your intention. Okay? Really, really good. When, specific situation, specific time and date, and then the specific behavior that's going to happen. Deceptively simple. wildly effective. So cool. So cool. Awesome. Okay. So this comes back to the thing I said earlier. You don't need more motivation. You just don't. You need a made decision, a time, and that's the trigger. That's the when and the then. You've got it. So before you finish listening to this episode, not tonight, not tomorrow, right now, like this episode is wrapping up, pick one thing that you've been overthinking or you've been circling or you've been procrastinating. It just hasn't been happening. Pick one thing and then write down the when and then so you know exactly when your action is going to happen. Help yourself with your brain. Help yourself guide your brain. This is something we simply didn't learn as kids. Most parents, schools didn't teach us that I'm the boss of my brain. I'm the boss of my body. I'm the boss of my thoughts. I'm the boss of my emotions. We think that we're actually the victim of it, and we're not. So you are a smart, high-achieving human being. You can take more action. You cannot be stuck with overthinking. Just use these 3 reasons. You know exactly why, and you've got exactly what to do to support you. So keep going. Go get it. Share this with someone who might feel like you know they're smart, you know they're capable, you know they're amazing, and you know they haven't started something or they might feel a bit stuck. Share this out to them. Go get it. Have an amazing week, and I'll see you next week.